Welcome to Chat and Tea with Dan, where I'm going to answer the questions that you submit and we're going to have a bit of a chat about them. So grab yourself a cup of tea, I've got mine, and let's settle in for a bit of a chat. Now, my first question comes from Primrose from Portland. And she asks, is it possible for you to have some impact on the type of road improvements in Wannon? We do so need far more passing lanes between Warrnambool and Portland, designated rest areas available for both our large trucks and also our caravans and travellers. These would be far more useful than expensive and sometimes dangerous wire barriers. Thank you, Primrose. Thanks, Primrose. Really important question, and the number one issue as I drive around the electorate. The way the funding works for roads in Western Victoria is that the Commonwealth provides money to the state government, and the state government has responsibility then for not only maintaining roads, but building new roads or improving the conditions of our roads. And in particular, the Commonwealth is always pushing for the focus to be on road safety, because we want to make sure that given the vast amount of distance that we travel, that we can do it safely. So we're always proposing to the state government for them to make sure they're putting in additional overtaking lanes, that they're broadening the road, they're broadening the curbside, that they're doing things which make our roads safer. We've given the state government $140 million to do further improvements on our southwest roads, including roads around Portland. And one of the big breakthroughs we had this year was that we're able to get the state government to commit in this last quarter of 2020 to really get to work on our roads. So our hope is we will see more passing lanes and that we will see further improvements also for where trucks or tourists can pull over, wayside stops, and make sure that they're spread along the Princes Highway in particular, so that there's a safe place for cars, trucks, caravans, etc. to pull over and pull off the road. All those things which are really what we need and what we continue to push the Victorian State Government on, and my hope is that they'll use our money and get to work and make our roads safer. The next question's of a similar vein to the question that Primrose asked, and it comes from Ian and Julie from Eliminite, and they ask, is there any process in place to ensure that the money is well spent on our roads? As an example, the quality of the finish and the ongoing repairs to the divided road between Colac and Winchelsea appears to be work that is not at a standard I would have expected in 2020. I've also notified Regional Roads Victoria of vegetation and encroaches onto roads, and have received a phone call in reply that they are required to request money for what I would have assumed to be everyday safety maintenance of our roads and surrounds. So Ian and Julie, really good question again, and once again, something that we're always pressing the state government on is not only are you taking Commonwealth money to invest in roads in Southwest, and you're responsible for doing the job and doing it properly, but to make sure that that's actually what you're doing, and that you're repairing, fixing or building the roads to a standard they were built in the earlier years. So really good quality workmanship, and that's what we want to be seeing. From a Commonwealth point of view, we continue to want to invest in our roads. It's the number one priority around the electorate, and we continue to want to work with the state government to get that investment and make sure the money is well spent and we get a very good finished product. And as everyone in the southwest knows, due to the amount of rainfall that we get in particular, making sure we've got a solid base to our roads is so important. And that's one of the things that we keep pressing on the Victorian State Government, is to get all those simple things right, because then our roads last and they remain safe places for us to travel on. And in the end, that's what we want. We want to be able to get our families safely from A to B on our roads, and we want them of a quality that enables us to do that. So our next question comes from Pamela from Coorimundle. And she's asked, given the mounting evidence that we can no longer reverse the effects of climate change, will you support the Climate Act put to Parliament on Monday, 9th of November, which proposes setting a target of zero emissions by 2050 and forming an independent advisory committee to assess the risks we all face and develop mitigation strategies? So thanks very much, Pamela, and it's a really important question, and it's something that the coalition government has been focused on since it's come to office. As a matter of fact, if you look at our record at emissions reduction, it's better than New Zealand's, it's better than Canada's, and it's better than the OECD average combined. And the unique thing about Australia, and I know something about this because before I became a Member of Parliament, I was with the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and I actually went with our delegation to Buenos Aires for one of the first climate change COPs. And what we're very good at in Australia is actually having targets, setting a commitment and meeting them. As a matter of fact, we're one of the few countries in the world that has met all our commitments. And at the moment, we are on track to meet our commitments for 2030. And we've set out a roadmap to do that. It's called a technology roadmap to reduce our emissions. We've set that pathway out, and we're determined that using technologies we will do that. And we've engaged the chief scientist to help us with that work on how we meet our 2030 commitments. And obviously gas will be a key component of that. But one of the things that people don't know also about us here in Australia is our investment in renewables, and something we see in the southwest is also second to none when you look at what else is happening internationally. So our track record is very good. We've got very specific commitments to meet for 2030, which we've set out a roadmap as to how they'll do that. But one of the things we've been very clear about is that our emissions reductions targets will be met through technology, not through taxes. We want to make sure that we take industry and business with us along this pathway, along this roadmap, and that we just don't tax them and therefore cost jobs, because we think there's a smart way that we can play our part, and that's the path that we want to take. So that's been 3 questions. I've got many more which I'd love to chat with you about, but we might stop it there, and we'll continue our chat next time. It's been really enjoyable to have a cup of tea with you. And can I just say, keep the questions coming in. We'll keep responding, and those we can't respond to on this mechanism or this medium, we will get back to you personally as well. It's a great way for me to stay engaged with you. We live in the best part of the world. We want to make sure that we keep it the best part of the world to live in, bring up a family, and your feedback, input and questions help me represent you to the best of my ability to make sure that we continue to live in a wonderful, wonderful place.
Authorised by Dan Tehan, Liberal Party, Hamilton.